The $750,000 proposal is a godsend to most of the residents in Stockton, but there are a few who say it wouldn't be in the best interests of the suburb. A spokesman for the Catholic Church and Primary School, which is located across the road from the proposed development, says that the increased noise and traffic could be hazardous to the school children. The development includes a food barn and 8 specialty shops and will result in the demolition of 5 houses in Dunbar Street. The application will go before the Newcastle City Council at its meeting on Tuesday.
At Maitland Jail this morning, the prison officers met and decided to join the protest. The men have gone on strike for at least 24 hours and will meet again at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning to decide on further action. A large contingent of police has been called into the jail to take over security. Convicted murderer Peter Schneiders, at the centre of the dispute, was at Maitland Jail in February this year. Prison officers claim he maliciously wrecked a yard at the complex. He was then moved to Goulburn Jail. At today's meeting, the officers stated that they'll have Schneiders at Maitland Jail again, only if he's kept segregated completely from other prisoners. The 31-year-old Medford woman was found dead in her car with 27 stab wounds to her body and evidence of blows to the head. Police say it was a ferocious attack. This is the squash and gym centre at Green Hills. Police say this is where she was last seen Saturday, the 3rd of April last year. She left about 5:30 after playing a game of squash. It wasn't until the Tuesday after, however, that the gruesome discovery of her body was made. A jogger found her body face down in her car in bushland west of the Ashtonfield residential estate. Her hands were bound by football boot laces tied with a neat bow. Scientific and forensic tests carried out on the body put the time of death at some time before midnight on the Saturday evening. Today I was shown records of the hundreds of interviews carried out by police in connection with the murder. Detective Senior Constable Dover has been on the case since day one. He's constantly following new leads in the hope that the case can be closed. Detectives in Maitland are now going over some of the suspects cleared by alibis last year. Despite earlier theories, they've not ruled out the possibility that Miss Dixon's murderer was a man.
Prison officers at Maitland Jail voted to strike again this morning after attending a mass meeting to discuss the Schneiders issue. Prison Officers Association spokesmen say Maitland warders won't be meeting again until there's a breakthrough in negotiations in the dispute. While the 95 officers at Maitland are off the job, police will continue to man the jail. Officers at the Cessnock Corrective Centre have also voted to stay out. However, they'll meet again tomorrow morning to decide whether to continue their strike.
Established in 1962, Chain Valley Colliery is not a new pit, but it's obviously efficient. Over the past year, the mine, which employs 380, produced 1 million tonnes of coal, half for Vales Point Power Station and the rest for export. Since it is Coal and Allied's first mine to top the 1 million tonnes in a year, union representatives and colliery manager Bill Flett were presented with a plaque today.
It was teamwork from everyone here that has enabled us to produce this 1 million tonnes of coal in the year.
The presentation was made by the group's general manager Bruce Thompson, who said that high levels of production rather than cutbacks are the only way underground mines can stay with today's competitive market.
I think any company in a competitive marketplace is in a far better position to have good production of stock produced at a marketable price than a trickle of coal that comes out at such a cost that the company can't survive.
Today's news, the tenders are now being called for the piles for a new bridge to replace this, the Denali Bridge, will undoubtedly further hearten many Singleton residents. Last year, the Denali Bridge was the subject of several protests and much criticism over its safety. The issue was brought to a head when a young boy fell through the wooden bridge and was lucky to live. Minister Jackson said today the Denali Bridge can no longer cope with the large volume of highway traffic, but will be retained to service local community requirements.
Is that 5/4? They're surfing up towards the cliff. Surfers in heat 18 will surf down towards the cliff, and the surfers in heat 11 will surf out in front of the official tent. Over there, judging. Kate Greenfield from Orthopoka, D. Carter Norahand, and Julie Bird from Dudley.
The 8th floor of the Dade County Courthouse looked like a battlefield as workers began getting sick after a small birthday celebration. Some were nauseous, one man fainted, others had breathing problems, and others just felt strange. 23 people were taken to hospital with a variety of problems, but all had one symptom in common. According to one hospital spokesman, they were all right up the wall. The hospital ran tests on cookies eaten at the party and found they had been laced with marijuana. A 28-year-old court clerk was arrested. He said he did it just for a prank.
Run by the Churches of Christ and funded by community donations and the state government, the Green Hills Retirement Centre is an ambitious project which is already providing comfortable accommodation for about 25 elderly people. The first stage, officially opened today, comprises a 38-bed hostel which features mini lounge areas and recreational facilities. The second and third stages planned comprise a 60-bed nursing home and 50 self-care units. Maitland City Council and local service clubs are backing the retirement centre, and an appeal to raise the funds necessary to complete the project has been launched.
Right back to when the Lakes Club in the blue and gold came into first grade league, the area was previously controlled by West. The tussles have been with feeling, and that happened again today as the scrum erupts and the prop forwards Peter Johnston from West and Mick Bates from Lakes sort things out. Order is restored, and on a touch judge's report, or so it seems, referee Graham Turnbull sends both players off and to the judiciary on Monday night.
Thanks, John. Good morning. A mild morning out here at the beach. It's 15 degrees in the city at the moment. It's overcast. There's strong likelihood of more showers about the coast, and waves for the board rider this morning aren't looking too good at all. But then again, after this weekend, should be used to it by now. The swell is straight from the east. We have waves around 1.5 to 1.8 metres at the open beaches in town. The wind, unusual for this time of the year, is from the north. Conditions are a little choppy and bumpy, and these conditions are likely to deteriorate during the day. And as far as the tides are concerned, they're not helping things either at the moment. The tide's still going out. You'll find that more than they are at the moment, waves will be closing out later in the morning as the tide bottoms, and then as the tide starts to come back in, there may be a slight improvement around lunchtime, although at this stage, conditions aren't looking too hopeful at all. If you'd like to go for a swim, take care. Strong sweeps and bad rips at all city beaches. It certainly hasn't been a good weekend for the weather, and it doesn't look like it's going to change much today, actually. The forecast reads cool, with showers or rain at times. Morning fog and mist patches, that'll be mainly inland. East to northeasterly winds at 10 to 20 knots, that's 20 to 40 kilometres per hour. Mainly slight seas on a moderate swell. Newcastle expecting a top today of 17 degrees. Up in the valley at Scone, a top of 16. Low tide coming up at 10:33 this morning, 0.5 of a metre. The following high tide will be at 5 minutes past 5 this afternoon, 1.6 metres. And the outlook for Tuesday, cool with just a shower or two. Well, that's the story. No waves for the board rider to speak of. Plenty of them around. They just don't look too good. Around 1.5 to 1.8 metres. Weather-wise, 15 degrees in the city at the moment, heading for a top of 17 degrees, and still showers or rain, especially about the coast. Have a great day. Take it easy on the roads. Back again tomorrow morning. Thanks, John. Good morning. Quite a deal of fog around in the city this morning. A cool start to the day. Westerly winds at the moment and waves around 1.2 to 1.5 metres for the board riders. Conditions look better this morning than they have for the last week or so, at least with the wind offshore. Smooth and fairly nice conditions for the board riders. The swell's dropped a little, those waves just around the 1.2 to 1.5 metre mark now at all of the open beaches, and wave quality for the next 3 or 4 hours should be quite reasonable. The wind's going to go on shore fairly quickly. It's only going to stay westerly while there's fogs around, and then this afternoon conditions will return to their bumpy, choppy conditions that they've been over the last few weeks or so. If you'd like to go for a swim this morning, still take care. Bad rips and also sweeps at all city beaches. And now look at the forecast, and it reads morning fogs and then a cool day with sunny periods. A shower or two, east to northeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots on the coast, that's 20 to 30 kilometres per hour, but light northwesterly inland. Slight seas on a low to moderate swell. Newcastle expecting a top today of 18 degrees, 17 degrees for Scone. Low tide coming up at 16 minutes past 11 this morning, 0.5 of a metre. The following high tide at 5:52 this evening, 1.7 metres. And the outlook for Wednesday, cool to mild with sunny periods. Well, that's our look at the surf and weather this morning. Good conditions for the board riders after that fog. Westerly winds for the next 3 hours, maybe if we're lucky. Waves around 1.2 to 1.5 metres. The rain clearing, just a shower or two along the coast today and a top of 18 degrees for Newcastle. Have a great day whatever you're doing. Back to you, John.